In World of Warcraft, many things change, get updated, or are removed, and as such, there are quite a few items that get lost to time and are no longer obtainable in-game. These are quest rewards from quests that no longer exist, drops from monsters no longer in the game, and events that no longer take place. In this video, we will be taking a look at some of these rare items you probably will never get your hands on. So let's delve right in. First up on this list is Atiesh. Atiesh was one of the very first legendary items in World of Warcraft. This staff was the iconic staff used by Khadgar, and gave unique stats depending on which spellcaster class was using it. Most unique was its ability to teleport the user to Deadwind Pass. Obtaining this item was the result of a long grind, farming the hardest raid in the game, at the time Naxxramas. With Naxxramas being re-released, the old questline to obtain Atiesh was made obsolete, and as such, the ability to get this staff was made impossible. Accounts with Atiesh sell for outrageous prices of real-world money on the black market. This is due to the very few players that were able to clear Naxxramas back in vanilla World of Warcraft, and compounding on this fact is that maybe 1 or 2 members of a hardcore raiding guild would have ever seen this staff. So the amount of accounts with Atiesh is basically 0. Thus there is a huge premium on this unobtainable item. The Blackened Defias Set was a collection of gear pieces that had a cool black leather look to them and gave rogues a ninja-like appearance. These pieces dropped from the original Deadmines instance before it got reimagined in the Cataclysm expansion. Since the source of these items came from a version of the Deadmines that no longer exists, these pieces are now unobtainable loot. However, the transmog appearance can still be unlocked through gameplay, just the set itself cannot be obtained. If you played a low-level rogue back in the day and have the Defias set, you have quite the rare account on your hands. Quivers and ammo pouches are a relic of a bygone era, as World of Warcraft has been modified for the sake of quality of life improvements. One of the things that got taken out of the game was quivers and ammo pouches, as well as ammo for ranged weapons. Blizzard has made an ongoing effort to streamline and remove a lot of the micromanagement involved with players over the years. As such, a lot of old quivers and pouches now sell for quite a lot on the auction house, as collectible items that came from the original era of World of Warcraft. Next, we have the infamous Carrot on a Stick. This unique classic era trinket was once a prized possession of adventurers seeking to enhance their mount's speed by a whopping 3%. Shaped like a humble carrot dangling from a stick, it provided a small but significant increase in mount speed, making it a must-have for any serious player back in the day. This elusive item could only be obtained through a pre-Cataclysm quest line, where you would kill the final boss of Zul'Farrak at a quest giver in Shimmering Flats. Because after the Cataclysm expansion, the zone was revamped and literally flooded, this quest and thus item was no longer obtainable in-game. What's even more questionable is that Blizzard removed the actual utility of this trinket, despite the fact it's no longer obtainable by making it useless to max-level characters. This was likely due to avoid people complaining that some players got to travel 3% faster just because they played World of Warcraft back in the early days. Despite that, having this on your character is a cool relic of the past. Next, we have Sword of Nefarian's Hand. This formidable weapon was said to have been forged by the Black Dragon Nefarian himself. Imbued with dark magic and unparalleled power, it had a cool model and green color to it. This sword was obtainable by a quest added in Cataclysm, where you would kill General Drakisath, which later got removed in the Warlords of Draenor expansion, and thus cut off the supply of this blade. As such, it's a rare sight to see this transmog. Next is Magic Dust. This fascinating and flavorful item was a unique drop from classic-era monsters named Dust Devils in Westfall. The item could literally put a target or player to sleep for a significant period of time, making it quite a great item for both PvE and PvP. The item later got nerfed to have it only usable on targets of up to 49 because Blizzard are fun police. The OG version of Magic Dust was taken out of the game for good and had its utility made obsolete. The legendary Corrupted Ashbringer, a dark and twisted version of the Paladin's iconic weapon. Once wielded by the noble Scarlet Crusade, this corrupted blade became a symbol of betrayal and despair, and a dark twist on the iconic Ashbringer blade. To obtain the corrupted Ashbringer, adventurers had to defeat the formidable forces guarding it within the depths of Naxxramas. Yet, despite the bravery of those who dared to venture into the icy halls of Naxxramas, the corrupted Ashbringer remained a rare and elusive prize, with it no longer being obtainable today, despite how cool it looks. Considering how challenging Naxxramas as a raid was to players in original vanilla WoW, with only 1% of the player base clearing the raid, the amount of accounts which were able to get their hands on this were very few. Adding to the cool factor of this weapon, despite everything I have said already, it even triggered a unique event if the player equipped this in Scarlet Monastery. Blizzard came out and said in an interview that they had no intention of reintroducing a way to get this weapon, or transmog, as it was taken out of the game deliberately, meaning the rare accounts that managed to get this epic sword are now highly valued, with some of these World of Warcraft accounts selling for over $3,000 of real-world money on the black market. That should give you an idea of how sought after this epic sword is. Next on our list are the stylish Ruby Shades, a fashionable accessory coveted by rogues and fashionistas alike. With their sleek design and ruby-tinted lenses, these shades were the epitome of cool in Azeroth. These were obtained by the Horace Pilton NPC in the Burning Crusade, but were made unobtainable with updates to the game. What is interesting is how these shades can now sell for over 1 million gold on the auction house. Those who kept hold of their ruby shades for some reason now have a nice fortune on their hands. The Gnomeregan Drape, a cloak as flashy as the gnomes themselves. This stylish garment was said to have been crafted by the ingenious gnomish engineers of Gnomeregan. The cloak was made unobtainable, despite it being an amazing looking cloak for a gnome or engineer transmog. Last but not least, we have the prestigious Competitor's Tabard, a symbol of honor and glory, and a cool looking tabard in its own right, with it having Olympic rings on the design. This was a reward which was obtainable from a limited time event during the 2008 Beijing Olympics. By competing in a battleground, a player would receive the competitor's tabard, regardless of if they won or lost. Due to 2008 being a long time ago, and it's unlikely Blizzard will re-release or give an alternate way to obtain this tabard, chances are you are never going to see it again. To be honest, I kind of like how Blizzard makes some items unobtainable and only collectible during a limited time. The scarcity of some of these unobtainable items is what makes them cool. Similar to party hats in RuneScape, having a character with corrupted Ashbringer has a similar effect. It's another way for WoW players to make their characters stand out from the rest or flex, similar to having a rare mount, which I think deserves its own video, as mount collection in World of Warcraft is a rabbit hole in itself. If you enjoyed this video, check out another one of our videos on screen here.